This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz in Orange County. Today, joined by Kris Murray, who's a councilwoman in the beautiful city of Anaheim, California. But Orange Unified School District serves portions of Anaheim.
That is correct.
The title can get a little confusing, but in Eastern Anaheim, you have Orange Unified, and there's going to be a bond on the ballot.
That's correct.
For the district. Tell us about the bond.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today and to talk about this very important measure. So the bond that's before the voters in November to support our schools is absolutely essential. Our schools are truly structurally failing in the Orange Unified School District.
Really?
And, yeah, so that includes Anaheim, Villa Park, Orange, Garden Grove, parts of Santa Ana, and some of our county areas. Our schools have not been modernized or structurally updated in more than 60 years.
So we're literally talking about the building.
We are talking about the buildings.
Air conditioning, earthquake, windows,
We're talking about all of it, including infestations of rodents and other issues there that are safety hazards. We also and health and safety hazards. Our science labs are not modernized. Many of them don't have running water or even they don't even have natural gas. It is absolutely. I encourage all residents in the cities affected to go check out their high schools. They're in the worst shape of any school district in all of Orange County.
And you would think that with Eastern Anaheim being a fairly nice area, arguably, that would not be permissible.
It's so unfortunate. You know, this will be the fourth attempt to put a bond before the voters, and I'm getting more engaged in this one than ever before. It narrowly failed last time.
Really? And it needs 55% because it's
correct.
a school bond.
That's correct.
Other bonds would need 2/3.
And it's also important for voters and residents and taxpayers to know that the funds from the bonds will only go to facilities. They will not supplement classrooms,
no
teacher salaries,
nothing.
Pensions, none of that. Truly just for the structural upgrades that are needed.
Clearly you're in favor.
I'm in favor.
And so let me ask you though if you're concerned about the following. On the ballot in November, in addition to the President, the U.S. Senate, the State Assembly, the State Senate, other city council elections, including in Anaheim, I believe, there's also the Prop 30 extension for the wealthiest among us, the cigarette tax, there is a school construction bond, there is a measure about how we vote on bonds, there's a bilingual education measure. I mean, there's a lot on the ballot.
There's a lot on the ballot.
And especially on taxing. Are you concerned about that?
Well, I don't support much of what you've just listed.
Okay.
But so I'll go on record with that. But I will say that in Orange Unified district area, our residents have never absorbed a single dollar for school construction in its 60-year history. So this is the first attempt for us to come together as a community and say, we're going to fund and update our schools because they don't just serve our students who are so desperately in need of quality school facilities. Many are taking classes in hot portable classrooms without air conditioning. Many are going without the facilities, the athletic facilities, the science lab facilities we discussed, computer labs, that other districts are enjoying across the region that we just don't have.
So Councilwoman, then how do you get that message out that yes, we know there are a lot of taxing revenue measures on the ballot, but look at this one. Go to the end of your ballot. Don't forget.
I know.
It's at the end of your ballot.
Well, let me just say that the City Council just recently approved a resolution supporting this bond. So it has the seal of approval of the City Council in Anaheim. I authored that, and that's how strongly I feel about this, that this is time. It's time, Anaheim. We've got to support this bond. We've got to support our schools.
I like that, the rhyme.
Thank you.
Let's talk about another element dealing with taxing, and that's known as the Anaheim Taxpayer Protection Act.
Correct.
And I'm kind of a nerd, so I do want to get into the nitty-gritty of it because it's very interesting. We know that to pass a taxing measure, we need a 2/3 vote.
Correct.
That was a Prop 13 issue. We amended that as it relates to schools. We need a 55% vote.
Correct.
But there's an issue with how a measure that increases taxes for local governments gets on the ballot. Today, don't tell me what this does yet. Today, what's the law?
So the law for most cities in California that are governed under what's called general law, the law requires a 2/3 vote of the legislative body. So either the city council, special district, water district, school district, whatever, it requires a 2/3 vote to put a tax increase or a fee increase on the ballot.
So in Anaheim, which is increasing...
And that's part of Prop 62 that passed in 1986.
So in Anaheim, which we'll have 7 members once the new lines are added, et cetera, that would mean it would need a vote of 5. But there's a trick. Because now all you need is a vote of 4.
Correct.
What's the loophole?
So the loophole is Anaheim is a charter city, and there are multiple charter cities in Orange County. There are more than 120 statewide. The courts punched a big loophole in Prop 62, and only require charter cities have basically been exempted. So all of us charter cities are exempt from a law that our residents voted for in 1986 to close, to make it more difficult for city councils to raise local taxes. So I authored the Anaheim Taxpayer Protection Act and said, hey, again, it's time. Let's close this loophole.
But it's interesting because you're in favor of the Orange Unified School Bond, but it shows, you're looking at it with a different lens.
Well, quite frankly, all taxes and government, when they look at taxes, there need to be expenditure plans. There need to be taxpayer accountability, which is included in the school bond. They have a citizens oversight committee. They have an annual audit of both revenues and expenditures. Those funds cannot be used to supplement anything other than facilities, so taxpayer protections are included in our bond.
But the key thing for the voters to remember about the Anaheim Taxpayer Protection Act, you're not increasing the threshold to pass.
No.
The voters still need to go 2/3 or 55,
They
whatever
do.
it may be. It's the city council.
The city council needs to comply with state law and has been exempted for nearly 30 years. It's time to close this loophole.
So let me ask you, Councilwoman, why is it important to close that loophole? Because if the voters still need to pass it by 2/3, why does it matter if 4 members want it on the ballot or 5 members?
Well, first, if a tax or fee increase is truly necessary, then it should have the full support of the council to put it on the ballot.
A supermajority
A supermajority of support should be there inherently. But as we know, special interest money flows into these elections to pass.
No.
It flows.
I can't believe what
I
didn't know
I wish
that.
that much money would go to serve homeless and foster kids and other very well intended and needed social services. But instead, it flows millions of dollars to pass tax increases. We see it all over the state. And so when these tax increases are put on the ballot, we know the money's there to twist and turn them to make them look like genuine need. The fact is the council should be aligned on the necessity of a tax increase before they put it to the voters. They shouldn't be asking the voters to do that job for them.
It seems to me, and God bless you for taking whether one supports or not, for at least being proactive on this, but I wonder, should we not have a state fix? I mean, it seems like Sacramento should be fixing this.
And the state fix would require passing it as part of a constitutional amendment.
Back to the voters?
And again, that would cost an awful lot of money for the voters to do that. The cities one by one can do this. Anaheim's not alone. The city of Newport Beach is doing the same thing. And
in November.
They modeled our measure, and they're putting it on their own ballot to close their loophole as well. So other cities are following suit. Anaheim's leading once again in very important ways, and I'm proud of that.
In our last minutes, please, oh please tell me the Angels are staying.
Yeah.
I mean, please, oh please.
I would love to say that definitively.
I admit I'm a partisan when it comes to the Angels.
When it comes to supporting the Angels. Yeah, let's have the Angels party. Where the city is in active negotiations with the team again. I'm very pleased about that. I believe we can come to a resolution that will support both the team, the city, our residents and taxpayers, and will truly make sure they're not just part of our important history and heritage in Anaheim, but a part of our future and a very bright future.
I mean, it's such an integral part of the fabric of not just Anaheim, but
even
Orange
imagine
County,
our city without
Southern
the
California.
Yeah.
So do you have a sense as to when we'll know? I mean, any day?
It's
hard to know?
The team in the city are talking. They're talking actively. We're very hopeful that there can be a resolution soon, and hopefully maybe before the end of the year. But,
let us know.
But we're working hard.
Her name is Kris Murray. She's a councilwoman in the city of Anaheim. My name is Brad Pomerantz, Local Edition.